non-classified Internet Protocol Router Network. It's essentially the U.S. Department of Defense's unclassified network used for transmitting sensitive but unclassified information. It stands for Joint Worldwide Intelligence Communication System. It's the top secret sensitive compartmented information TSCI network used by the U.S. intelligence.
So, okay, interesting. That seems, and he says even still, most of this is purposely kept off of those. So even kept off of the compartmentalized communications network. That network was probably the network that Matthew Brown, the whistleblower, was looking through when he came across the, unacknowledged special access program known as Immaculate Constellation, which wasn't supposed to be on there. That's where I learned about the most of what you're interested in here, and what seems to be bubbling to surf in the news lately. That when I learned about what we call the Council. Yes, and one thing that did stand out to me, and also to Linda Moulton Howe, years ago, was the mention of the Council. Count 5, he put it privately, told me that, it doesn't have to 5. That was the impression he had, because there were 5 beings in the room at the time. But the Council is also mentioned in channeling material from Raw Contact, I believe. This channeling of the being Raw. The Council was often mentioned as well, so interesting. I've never met them face to face. Everything I know about them is from briefings, documents, and one secure video session that I honestly wish I had skipped. But it lines up with too many independent data points to just shrug off as somebody's pet theory. The basic story is this. Earth was noticed roughly 2 billion years ago, long before anything walked around on land. Not because we're special, but because we tripped a sensor, or rather, life tripped their sensors. You see, the Council is not a single species. It is a collective of several advanced interstellar, maybe even interdimensional civilizations that run long-term surveys of stars and planets, the way we run spy satellites. Huge distributed arrays of instruments working together, watching thousands of star systems. Thousands of star systems. Thousands of star systems.
alarm started as a soft beep. Then it became louder. Then it became a screaming wail that made Senior Monitor Vectala jump from her chair. The alarm started as a soft beep for 12 hours straight. Then it became louder. Nothing ever happened. Then it became a screaming wail that made Senior Monitor Vectala jump from her chair where the Catheron Empire. She had been watching the sensor screens for 12 hours straight.
Out of space near human
Nothing ever
colony
happened at Sentinel-7.
Falling mountain.
The monitoring
Captain
station
Jake
located at the edge of
Morrison
explored
watched from his
space
command
where the
center
Caltheron
as the
Empire
thing blocked
territory
out
ended.
half the massive alien ship had dropped out of space near human colony of
never
Newberg,
one this close
like
to
a
human
falling
space.
mountain.
Never one
Captain
that
Jake
came along.
Morrison watched
Jake
from his
pressed the
command
communication
center.
button.
Thing blocked out
Unknown
half the
vessel.
star.
This is New
He had
Denver
seen
colony.
Keth Mori ships,
State your business.
but never one this
The
close to
response came
human
in
space.
broken human speech.
Never one that
Heavy with
cloned.
clicks and growls.
Jake pressed the
I am
communication
Commander
button.
Zektar of the
Unknown
Bone
vessel.
Fleet.
This is
I
New
speak
Denver
to your
colony.
leaders.
Business.
It is urgent.
The response
Jake
came
looked
in
at his
broken
crew.
human speech.
The Keth Mori
Heavy
were
with
known
click
across the
growls.
galaxy as fierce warriors.
I am Commander Zektar,
They
the
stood 8
bone-winged
feet tall
fleet.
with wings
I must
that could
speak
carry
with
them
yours.
through space for
It is
short
urgent.
distances. Their
Jake
claws
looked
could
at his
cut through
crew.
steel.
The
Their
Mori
teeth
were
could
known
bite
across
through
the
armor.
galaxy as fierce
They did not
warriors.
ask for help.
Stood 8 feet tall with wings that could carry them through space for short distances. Their claws could through steel. Their teeth could bite through armor. They did not ask for help. What they wanted. Permission granted and shuttle, Jake said. No weapons. Hour later, Commander Zektar stood in the colony's main meeting room. The alien warrior was even bigger than Jake expected. His fur was black silver stripes. His wings were folded tight against his back. Scars covered his arms and face. But something was wrong. The warrior's yellow eyes looked different. Dr. Lisa Chen, the colony's doctor and scientist, sat across from Zektar. She had studied in species for 20 years. Commander, you look sick. Are you well? Zektar's claws scratched the metal table. People are dying. All of us. The adults way. What do you mean? Jake asked. A sickness came to our world 6 months. It only kills those who have reached full growth. The young ones are safe, but they cannot survive alone. Zektar's voice became quieter. In my culture, cubs learn to fight from the moment they can walk. The weak ones die. The strong ones live. That is our way. He leaned forward. But now the adults are gone? Not yet, but soon. We have perhaps 1 year left. Maybe less. Zektar stood and began pace. His claws clicked on the floor. We are searching the deep void for a cure, but we cannot take cubs with us. The journey is too dangerous, too young. Jake began to understand. You want us to watch your children. Your species does something no other does. You keep your weak young alive. You for them until they grow strong. We have colonies. Human parents will die to protect that are not even their own blood. Dr. A. Chen nodded slowly. That's true. Our cubs are not human cubs. We don't know how to care for them. We need food, warmth, and safety. Nothing more. Zektar listened against his head. I know what you are thinking. Keth Mori are killers. Our cubs will grow up to be killers too. Head cubs grow to be nothing. Jake looked around the room at his staff. Corrector Helen Brooks had been quiet until now. How many talking about? 200. The number in the air like a weight. The human colony, 1,000 people. 200 alien predator cubs thing. The babies now, Zektar continued. Their eyes are not even open yet. They cannot hunt. They cannot fight. They will die without help. Dr. asked the question everyone was thinking. What happens when I'm back? What if your cubs have learned human ways instead of Mori ways? Zektar's eye hard. Then we will fix. But first they must live. Jake stepped outside the meeting room to. Through the window he could see the Keth Mori hanging in space like a dark moon. He and daughter back on Earth. Children in the colony schools. He to be human. When he returned to the room, Jake's mind was made up. We'll do it, but we have conditions. Name them. First, your cubs live with our families. They don't get put in some special facility, part of our community. Second, we raise them our way. If you want them to learn human, they have to be treated like human children. Zektar's paws extended slightly. And third, when you come back, you just take them. If they want to stay, if they've made lives here, we talk about it. The alien commander was quiet for a long time. He nodded. Agreed. And can you take them? Give us 3 days to prepare. 2 days later, family across New Denver colony getting ready for something that had never happened before. John and Maria Parker cleared out their spare room for their new alien child. Steve and Janet Cooper bought extra food and baby supplies. The Rodriguez family set up a special sleeping area with thick blankets and heat lamp. Dr. Chen worked day and night to understand Kethmori biology. The cubs needed milk every 2 hours. They grew fast. They would weigh pounds within a month. Their claws and teeth were sharp even babies, but they were still babies. They needed love and care just like human children. On the 3rd day, the Kethmori shuttle landed. Zektar himself carried the first the ship. The little creature was covered in soft gray fur. Its eyes were closed. It made small mewing sounds like if kids were the size of large dogs. Jake watched. Maria Parker took the cub into arms. She looked down at the alien baby and smiled. "Hello, little. I think call you Alex." One by one, 200 Kethmori cubs found new homes with human families. They had no idea that they were about to become something new galaxy, something that had never existed before. As the Kethmori fleet prepared to leave for the deep void, Zektar Jake at the landing pad. "Take care of them," the alienator said. "We will," Jake promised. "That's what humans do." The alien ships disappeared to space, leaving behind a colony full of families who had just doubled in size. The cubs slept peacefully in their new home, unaware that they were the beginning of something that changed both their species and the galaxy itself. 5 years had passed since the Kethmori fleet disappeared into deep space. Alex Parker stood on the school playground, watching a group of human children argue about the rules of their game. At 10 years old, he was already 6 feet tall with silver gray fur and yellow eyes. Adoptive parents had given him a human name, but no hiding what he was. "Hey, Alex, can you reach that ball?" called Sophie Parker, his sister. The ball had gotten stuck in it 20 feet up. Without thinking, Alex crouched down and leaped. His powerful leg punched him up to the branch where he grabbed the ball in one clawed hand. He dropped back down and handed to Sophie with a gentle smile. "Thanks, big brother," Sophie said. The other kids gathered around Alex, not afraid, amazed. This was normal for them. Alex had been part of their school since he could walk. Across the playground, Luna Cooper was helping a human boy who had fallen off the monkey bars. 9 years old, she was as big as Alex, but moved with careful grace. Her fur pure white, black spots. She used her claws to carefully cut a worn fabric of a boy's shirt so she could see his scraped arm better. "Mrs. Patterson," Luna called to the teacher. "Dan needs the first aid kit." Mrs. Patterson hurried over with medical supplies. She watched as Luna held Danny's hand while the teacher cleaned the wound. The Kethmori cub spoke soft, comforting words until Dan crying. "You're getting very good at helping others," Mrs. Patterson told Luna. That's what families do," Luna replied. "We take care of each other." In another part of the colony, Max Rodriguez was working in his family's garden. His adopted father, Carlos, had taught him how to grow vegetables. His claws could cut through metal, were perfect for digging in hard soil, but he had learned to be gentle with the delicate plants. "Careful with the tomatoes," Carlos said. "They bruise easy." Max nodded and used the tips of his claws to pick the ripe fruit. His massive hands moved with surprising care. "Like this? Perfect. You've got the gentlest touch of any colony." Dr. Lisa Chen watched all of this from her research station. She had been studying the cubs since they arrived. What she found amazed her every day. Brain scans showed the cubs' mind had developed in ways that were impossible for normal Kethmori. The parts of their brains that control and social bonding had grown much larger than expected. The areas that manage aggression and behavior had stayed small. These cubs thought differently than any Kethmori who had ever lived. "It's remarkable," Dr. Chen told Colony Director Helen Brooks during their weekly meeting. "They retain their natural abilities. I can jump 40 feet. Luna can run 6 miles per hour. Max can lift a ton. But they use abilities to help rather than to dominate." "What do you will happen when their birth parents return?" Helen asked. Dr. Chen looked out the window where she could see Diana Foster teaching a group of young children how to play a human game called tag. Diana was the largest of the cubs, already 7 tall with dark red fur. But she moved slowly and carefully so the smaller human children could keep up. "I don't know," Dr. Chen admitted. "These cubs have become some new. They're still Kethri, but they're all human in the ways that matter most. That evening, Parker family sat down for dinner. Alex helped Maria Parker carry the heavy dishes from the kitchen. John Parker served the food while Sophie set the table. It was a normal family dinner except for the fact that one family member probably tear the house apart with his band. "Alex, how was school today?" Maria asked. "We started learning about galactic history. Did you know that most alien species don't have families like humans do?" Alex cut his carefully with his claws. He had learned long ago to be gentle with everything around. "Really? How do they raise their children?" John asked. "Most species just lay eggs and leave them. Some have group nurseries where all the young are raised together. Keth Mori have something called combat, where cubs fight each other until only the strongest survive." Made a disgusted face. "That's horrible. What if a cub or gets hurt? Then it dies," Alex said quietly. "That's the Keth Mori way. Only the strong deserve to live." Maria reached over and put her hand on Alex's arm. "That's not our way." "I know, Mom. Glad I'm here with you." John looked at his adopted son. "Alex, do you ever think of your birth parents? Do you wonder what it would be like to live with them?" Alex quiet for a moment. "Sometimes. My family. You're my parents. Sophie, my sister. I don't know what those other Keth Mori are like, but I know who I am." Similar conversations were happening in homes across the colony. The kids had grown up thinking of themselves as part of human families. They had human value and emotions and human ways of solving problems, but they also had claws, fangs, strength to crush steel. Luna Cooper sat adoptive parents Steve and Janet on their front porch, watching the sunset. "Mom, what's going to happen when my birth species comes back?" Janet Cooper had been dreading this question for years. "I don't know, sweetheart, but whatever happens, you'll always be our daughter. What if they want me to be different? What if they want me to be mean like regular Keth Mori?" Steve Cooper put his arm around Luna. "Then we'll figure it out there. Families do." The cub memory of their birth parents. To them, the humans who raised them were their real families. They had games, human songs, and human ways of caring for each other. They said thank you. They helped with chores. They worried about their friends, protected those who were smaller or weaker. Human ways of caring for each other. But they were still Keth Mori. Their senses were incredibly sharp. They could see in the dark, hear sounds from miles away, and things humans could never detect. Bodies were built for war, even if their mind had been shaped for peace. Late at night, Dr. Chen often walked the colony and lit cubs sleeping. They made the same small sounds that human children made when they dreamed. Sometimes, very rarely, she heard other sounds. Deep and hunting calls that reminded her these were not human children. They were predators who learned to love. The question that kept her awake was, what would happen when birth parents turned to claim them? The cubs had become something unique in the galaxy. They were warriors, human hearts. But would the Keth Mori see that as an improvement or as a corruption of everything they believed in? As the 5th year ended with no returning fleet, the cubs continued to grow and learn. They were becoming teenagers now, with all the challenges that brought, but faced those challenges the human way, with support from their families and community. Birth parents were already on their way home. The Keth Mori fleet had found other survivors and built their massive force. They were returned to collect their cubs and turn them into the greatest warriors their species had ever known. They had no idea that the cubs they left behind had become something entirely new. Something that would challenge everything the Keth Mori thought they knew about strength, family, and what it meant to be alive in a dangerous galaxy. The alarm in the new Denver colony control room screamed like a dying animal. Captain Jake Morrison, now 7 years older and grayer, rushed to the scanner display. What he saw there made his blood turn cold. 50 massive ships hung in space beyond the colony. Each one was the size of a city. Each one was armed with enough...
In the early 1940s, most European territories were either neutral or under Adolf Hitler's control. Meanwhile, the British were terrified of a seemingly impending invasion. British officials came up with hundreds of ideas to save their nation in case of an attack. One of them was a secret program codenamed Operation Vegetarian. Had the secret program ever been implemented, millions of German citizens would have lost their lives. To this day, several thousand square miles of European soil might still be unoccupied. In 1942, Prime Minister Winston Churchill gave a task to Dr. Paul Fildus, the biology department director at the secret military research facility of Porton Down. The expert was asked to find a new chemical innovation to hinder the booming German war industry's progress. With nuclear weapons still not in the picture, biological warfare was thought to be one of the most effective war strategies. Dr. Fildus came up with the idea of dropping anthrax-contaminated cattle dietary supplements, also known as cattle cakes, onto German pastures. Such an operation would destroy the meat supply chain and consequently cause an enormous death toll due to a nationwide anthrax poisoning. Since anthrax spores can remain alive in the soil for more than a century, said poisoned land would remain uninhabitable for generations. Neither humans nor animals would be able to set foot there for many decades after the war had ended. Churchill loved the idea. He accepted the plan, and the British Royal Army initiated production of over 5 million tampered cattle cakes. The goal was to drop them over different areas of Germany by customized Royal Air Force bombers. The cakes were tested on Grenard Island, off the coast of Scotland. Dr. Fildus noted that the animals quickly ate the infected supplements. Quote, "Trials have shown that these tablets are found and consumed by the cattle in a very short time." Operation Vegetarian was never greenlit because by then, the war had turned decisively against Germany. The war's course stopped the operation from ever happening, but even the preparations caused some irreversible damage. Due to the widespread anthrax infection, the island where the cakes were tested remained contaminated in the 1990s. Eventually, over 5 million produced cakes to be disseminated in Germany were incinerated in 1945 when World War II ended. Operation Cauldron. Operation Cauldron was a secret series of biological warfare trials performed by the British government in the early 1950s. For Operation Cauldron, Porton Down scientists in the Royal Navy released a series of biological agents, including pneumonic and bubonic plague and brucellosis, on caged animals, subsequently testing its effects. Said experiments were tested at sea, just off the coast of the Isle of Lewis, aboard a floating pontoon supported by the SS Ben Lomond. The animals were caged on the pontoon's deck, while scientists dispersed the viruses via a dropped bomb-like device or by spraying it. After exposure, the critters were taken aboard the SS Ben Lomond. The ones that perished were dissected and examined thoroughly. Overall, 3,492 guinea pigs and 83 monkeys were used in Operation Cauldron. Although tests were initially a success, only a year later, the trials showed different results. Official reports stated that, quote, "Brucellosis has not increased its reputation as a dangerous agent." An incident during the final test of the series hindered any remaining chance of success. After ignoring warnings to steer clear of the secret testing area, the trawler Corella and its crew of 18 men unknowingly sailed through a cloud of plague bacteria on their way back from a fishing trip in Icelandic waters. This incident caused plenty of concern from officials about a very possible plague outbreak at its home port in the north of England. The ship wasn't stopped for quarantine, disinfection, nor thorough medical examination. Instead, the vessel was kept under secret observation for 21 days by a destroyer warship and a fisheries vessel. The ship's radio communications were secretly monitored by the government in case of medical distress. This surveillance period also included a period of shore leave at Blackpool, where the men mixed with the citizens as usual. Surprisingly, nobody in the crew got ill. The incident was known to the highest government levels, from the UK's Royal Navy and Naval Service to Winston Churchill himself. The event was successfully hidden from the